Ho ho, hey there, internet friend. It's your buddy Jason from Drink the Paint Water, and I know it's been a hot minute. I haven't made a video since June, since I finished up my Wasteland Alphabet adult coloring book project, but it's been a hell of a year, and today's Christmas. Ho ho! Also, Nosferatu release day in the theaters. Hopefully you got to go see it. I had plans to go see it, but life came up, and I'm not going to be able to for a little while yet. But I hope you can. But anyway, what the hell's been going on with me? Well, as you know, I took those first 6 months and every Monday night made a live stream using Adobe Fresco to draw this adult post-apocalyptic themed coloring book, and that was great. Actually, why look, I have a sample right here. You can get this on Amazon. I'm going to put a link down in the description. You can get a PDF at my website at drinkthepaintwater.com. Basically, it's like matching quatrains, I guess, to different, like a little rhyming scheme, the ABCs of living in the apocalypse. So I spent the first, half of the year creating that, and then had like a 2-week sweet-ass vacation in the middle of the summer there. I always go camping over the summer solstice, and a couple other things, wound up there, but then I got sick in early July or late July, something like that, and was pretty much tied up for 6 weeks. I had TMI, maybe skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this, but I was diagnosed with acute bacterial prostatitis, which in layman's terms is an infection of the prostate. And it sounds as amazing as it is. It was the worst. Like, I was barely getting any sleep. I was in pain. Of just all kinds of downstairs mix-ups happening. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, except for maybe a couple people in Washington. They know who they are. But anyway, that good news is, I got some industrial strength antibiotics, and we eventually knocked that sucker out of there. But I really couldn't concentrate on anything except for keeping my day job. Luckily, I was fully remote at the time and could manage my schedule around like being able to function as a human. But that's behind me now. Okay, if you went away, come back now. We're done talking medical stuff. And so I lost my momentum over that period. I actually had to cancel one of my shows that I was supposed to do a night market here in Cedarburg, Wisconsin, and there was absolutely no way that I could do it while I had that affliction. So I had to cancel that that show also. But otherwise, so I got kind of back into the groove. I did some other events, and I have done some very fun freelance commissions for Weird Frontiers, which is a kind of like a weird horror, Wild West role-playing game. I've done for a couple different publishers commissions for that. So it was a fun way to kind of wrap up the year, but I don't know. I just wasn't in the mindset to make videos about that, so I apologize. But my promise to you is that there are more coming in 2025, and I will film the process of those. So we're back on this pony. So were the highlights of 2024 for me? Well, I'm glad you asked, my friend. Like I said, the Wasteland Alphabet was probably my biggest accomplishment, and in the fact that I had challenged myself, if you're not familiar with it, I had challenged myself to use Adobe Fresco, which is a software program that I'm not that familiar with. I use Procreate usually when I'm drawing on my iPad, but I wanted to challenge myself, and in the end I still prefer Procreate, but later on in the year I had a commission that absolutely fit Adobe Fresco. I had to use some of the capabilities of that software that Procreate can't do. So because I had challenged myself earlier in the year, I was able to fulfill that commission. So that was cool. It's kind of copaesthetic, man. It's copaesthetic. So that was cool. Earlier in the year, I won an award, which is really cool. It's the 2024 Apex Award for Publishing Excellence in the field of design and illustration. It was an illustration award for my day job. I don't mention my day job a lot because I try to keep the two separate, but my 9 to 5 is as an illustrator for a major magazine, and my boss submitted one of my illustrations from the May 2023 issue, and it won an award in 2024. So that's how it works. It just kind of, they do the previous year. So that was nice to get that recognition. It's pretty cool. Not that it's all about awards, but it always feels nice to be appreciated. Speaking of awards, I also won an award at North Texas RPG Con as a friend of the con. I think they're called. It's like the I don't know what the Hall of Honor or something like that for gamers that have supported the convention from the get-go. And I go as often as I can. I went every year when I lived in Texas. Now I go about every other year, but I also donated my time and talents to create their first couple of logos, and have donated to their auction and things like that. So they recognized my help to that. So that's cool too. Like I said, it's not about awards, but it's also very cool to be recognized. I've got a list here because as long as we're still on the medical, we're not still on the medical, but I'm gonna give you too much information again. And I'm going to try to do this without editing because I don't have the focus right now. I currently have... remember in 2020 when there was that big old thing going all around the whole world? Well, I caught it again. This is my second time, which is really annoying because I've got all my vaccines. I am very careful. I am almost compulsive about washing my hands and cleanliness and things like that. Not necessarily clutter, but personal hygiene. And I kind of just try to stay away from the general public. Despite all that, I've got it twice now. Once 2 years ago or so, and just currently. The good news is that I'm old and fat enough to get the good drugs now. So my symptoms, as you can tell, are pretty mild. Just a little cough, kind of a stuffy head. Not even nearly as bad as the last time I had it. But if I'm coughing, that's the explanation. Is this more than you ever wanted to know? I don't know. I apologize. If this is boring you, tune into my next one. But if it's not, stick around. And if you like my videos, like, subscribe, hit the ding-dong bell, notifications, get on my emails list. I never send out emails, but you should get on that list, because maybe in 2025 I'm going to buckle down and do it. Who knows? Another highlight of 2024 has nothing to do with awards or bodily functions or anything like that, but when I was at the CROP conference, which is a creative conference in Austin, Texas, an annual conference, there was a gentleman up from Australia. He was one of the presenters, and he was standing behind me in line for the bar, and I ordered a double, and the guy, he heard me order it, and he's like, "You got a double?" That's my Australian accent, right? "You got a double, mate? Crikey," and I said, "Yeah," and he goes, "This guy's not here to fuck any spiders," and that is my favorite Australian phrase, and it was super cool to have somebody say that about me. Maybe. Anyway, but if you don't know what it means that, I'm not here to waste any time. So, "This guy's not here to fuck any spiders." And then he ordered a double, so it was cool. Like, we made a little friend, so shout out to you, mate. But basically, 2024 has been, ups and downs like every other year. Some things I learned this year were that, like, pop art, comic, like anime conventions, not really my bag. I had one early in the year, and we barely broke even. We wouldn't have made money if it weren't local. It was in Milwaukee, and so we came home every night. Didn't have any hotel rooms or anything like that. Or hotel charges. We just had to pay basically the table fee, and then parking. We packed a lunch every day. The crowd just doesn't dig my thing, and that's fine. I'm not for everybody. I understand it. So I'm not gonna probably. This is not the first time that's happened, so I'm not going to pursue more of those kinds of shows in the future. You live and you learn. When you're doing shows, it kind of evolves, right? You trial and error. You learn what works and what doesn't work. So that doesn't work. We're not going to do that anymore. Also learned that pop-up fairs really aren't my thing. I said because of that prostatitis issue I had, that I had to miss a pop-up show in Cedarburg, which is a really cool little town with a very kind of vibrant art scene, a lot of antique shops and small boutiques and things like that on their main drag. And so I thought I'm like, okay, cool, that would be very art-centric. No, I think I barely broke even on that one, and it was a weird experience. Not, just for me. It might be somebody else's bag. I don't want to badmouth anybody. So I had scheduled 2 of those into my 2024 calendar, and had to miss one because of the prostatitis. Actually was able to attend one the next month. It's a monthly thing, and yeah, it just wasn't for me. So art show, or like pop art, anime kind of conventions, comic book cons, not for me. Little local farmer market pop-up things, not for me. Okay, we live and we learn. What I did learn, however, was that horror conventions kill it, my friend. I talked last year about my success at Wolf Hollow Witches Market. Wolf Hollow is a kind of a curiosity and oddities shop down in Rockford, Illinois. Every year they put on a really cool pre-Halloween witches market down in Belvedere, Illinois, and it's an incredible show. It's just really well run, and B, the crowd is there to get creepy, to get spooky. That is my people. I do really well there. I did well there again this year. Luckily, I was in fighting shape by the time October rolled around, and so I'm already signed up to do that in 2025. But I also did the Port of Fear Horror Movie Festival in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I think that was in September of this year. And same thing. It was the same crowd. It was people coming to see small independent horror films, but then there was also like an outdoor vendors market full of creepy stuff. I did so much Christmas shopping there because my two oldest nieces, actually all three of my nieces, love creepy, spooky stuff. So I was able to do some Christmas shopping there. I can say this now because by now they've opened their presents. I had to miss. This is, like I said, I'm recording this on Christmas Day. Unfortunately, was not able to attend the family functions, but they opened their creepy gifts today, so I can talk about it. I'm all over the place here, friends. I apologize. My point being, horror conventions and role-playing game conventions are my jam. Anything else, I'm gonna kind of shy away from that in the future. I also kind of made a decision, possibly earlier in the year, maybe last year, that fantasy art really isn't for me as far as freelance commissions go. I recently turned down a commission that was, for a D&D sort of game, and it's not in my wheelhouse. Not that it's not in my wheelhouse, but it's not in my realm of interest right now. I want to do Weird West and post-apocalyptic and stuff like that. So the publisher was really cool, and in fact, I'm working with that publisher on something else, on a Weird West thing. But yeah, so it's about understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, and your interests too, right? And evolving right along with your company. So what's going to happen in 2025? Well, I've already signed up for 8 shows in 2025, and I've got my eyes on 2 more. They haven't opened up a call for entries yet for vendors, or put up their 2025 schedules. A lot of times you have to plan things like a year ahead. Like your schedule fills up right away. So this next year I am I am focusing on horror shows, which brings us back around to that. So I'm doing 2 major horror conventions in Chicago. I'm doing Nightmare Weekend and shoot, I forget what the other one's called. I'll put my list, my schedule on my website. You'll be able to check it out shortly. Maybe by the time you see this, I'm making this on Christmas, so who knows when you're watching it. But excuse me, these are major horror conventions. I went down there in November to check one out. It's they have a November show and a March show, and I'm going to be in the March show, so I went down in November just to check it out. It was packed. You could barely move around. Surprised I didn't catch the Rona then, right? But so I'm going to be in that one in March, so that'll be cool. So hopefully it'll be worth the table fee. It's going to be the most I've ever paid for a booth fee, but I bet it'll pay off. So, and if it doesn't, that's another lesson learned, right? So I'm going to be in those 2 major ones from Chicago. I'm going to be at the Milwaukee Horror Convention. Also, we'll do that, the Wolf Hollow Witches Market again. We'll do Port of Fear as soon as they announce that one. And Wolf Hollow also had a one in June called Summerween, which is kind of their halfway to Halloween horror oddities market. And I was signed up for that one. Unfortunately, it was canceled because of severe thunderstorms. And it's just out in a parking lot. So they, for safety reasons, canceled it, and then their rain date, their makeup date was while I was camping for the solstice, so I wasn't able to do that one this year. Anyway, so I'd signed up for 12 conventions or shows or whatever in 2024 and wound up attending 10 of them, so that's not bad, and learned from all of them and had a great time. Really, at 99% of them. And then, yeah, coming up in 2025, more of the same. I think I'm also going to redesign my website. It's a lot of work, but it's also an evolving process. And I look at it and things that I thought were a great idea when I redesigned it last year. I'm like, okay, well, I need to fix that. Which is funny because last year when I redesigned it, it was from the year before when I had redesigned it again. So it's just kind of an ongoing thing. Anyway, I'm rambling now. If you guys are still stuck around, you're the real ones. Hit the ding dong and smack the subscribe and all that. Friends, I'm going to let you go. But I just want you to know that I appreciate each and every one of you. Those of you that come out and see me at the live shows, it brightens my day. I love seeing you guys. If you interact on my socials, it's cool. I love to hear everything from everybody. So keep at it, and I hope you guys have a really thrilling and successful 2025 as well. And yeah, we're just gonna keep getting weird. Bye, friends. I love you.